Did you know that over 90% of motorcycle fuel delivery problems come from just one part? What is a throttle position sensor? Today, I'm going to share 9 symptoms of a bad throttle position sensor. So, what's a throttle position sensor? It's a tiny electronic device mounted on your throttle body that tells your ECU exactly how far you're twisting the grip. It converts throttle angle into an electrical signal the engine uses to control fuel and timing. Whether you ride a sport bike, cruiser, or ADV machine, the throttle position sensor plays the same critical role in your fuel system. You'll usually find it mounted right on the throttle body near the throttle shaft. Let's break down the 9 telltale signs your throttle position sensor is failing before it leaves you stranded with a dead throttle. Symptom 9. Laggy throttle response. You twist the grip and there's a pause, half a second that feels like forever. Instead of leaping forward, the engine hesitates, like it's half asleep or catching its breath. On a tight overtake or a sharp turn, that lag can shake your confidence. It's not just annoying, it's a sign the throttle position sensor is lying to your ECU. When the signal from the TPS is delayed or inconsistent, the ECU doesn't know how much fuel to send. The mix goes off. Power delivery stumbles. It's like you're talking to your bike, but your words are reaching it late. Try this in your garage. Put the bike in neutral, then snap the throttle. Watch the RPMs. If they hesitate before climbing or rise unevenly, that's a red flag. It could also feel like the engine's got turbo lag, except there's no turbo. Check the TPS connector for corrosion or loose pins. Clean it with contact spray and reseat the plug. If the hesitation sticks around, you're likely dealing with a worn-out sensor. Replacement usually runs $60 to $100, depending on your bike's model and accessibility. Let it go, and your ECU will start overcompensating. That rich fuel mix doesn't just hurt performance, it eats mileage and fouls plugs. Over a season, that's $150 or more in wasted fuel alone. You'll also start to notice rougher throttle transitions, especially at lower RPMs. The bike will feel less predictable. That laggy pulse you feel now, it's just the start. Next comes something you'll feel every second you cruise, an engine that surges like it's breathing through a straw. Symptom 8. Surging at steady speed. You're holding a steady 40 miles an hour, and the bike won't sit still. It pulses like it's breathing in and out. You can feel it through the bars, through your boots, even in your chest. That surge isn't the wind. It's your throttle position sensor sending mixed signals. Instead of a clean, steady voltage, it jitters up and down. The ECU reads it as you twisting the throttle, so it keeps adjusting fuel and timing over and over. The result? That rhythmic surge that makes a long ride exhausting and unpredictable. In neutral, hold the RPM steady at mid-range. If the needle dances or drifts on its own, your TPS is lying. Pop the seat, trace the wiring harness to the sensor, and make sure nothing's loose or rubbing. A single frayed wire can cause voltage spikes that fool your ECU. Use dielectric grease on connections to protect from moisture. Repair kits run about $30, and a new sensor is around $90. Ignore it, and those mini surges turn into wear on your driveline, chain, sprockets, clutch plates. Everything starts working harder than it should. That's another $200 you didn't plan to spend. Even worse, those surges can throw your body off balance during turns or when filtering through traffic. If your bike feels like it's surging against your will, the next thing you'll notice is the idle. It stops behaving altogether. Symptom 7. Erratic idle. You start the bike and the idle dances around like it's got a mind of its own. 1 minute it's humming at 1,800 RPM. The next, it's gasping just above stall speed. The throttle position sensor is supposed to tell the ECU exactly where your throttle plates sit. When it sends nonsense, your ECU keeps chasing a target that doesn't exist. The engine revs, drops, and hunts for air. You can even feel it through the seat, like the bike's heartbeat is off rhythm. Here's an easy check. Hook up a multimeter to your TPS output wire. With the throttle closed, you should see around 0.6 to 0.8 volts. If that number jumps or flickers without moving the grip, that sensor's toast. Some bikes let you recalibrate the TPS through a diagnostic menu, but if it keeps drifting, replace it. Usually about $70 and an hour of work. Leave it and you'll stress the starter, the plugs, and the battery. Constant refiring from low idle can kill a a $120 battery faster than you think. Plus, that fluctuating idle can make cold starts miserable. Every morning, ride starts to feel like a fight. If your idle's already dancing, brace yourself. The next symptom takes away your acceleration completely. Symptom 6. Sudden power loss while accelerating. You roll on the throttle to merge, and the bike suddenly goes flat. The revs freeze, the power disappears, and for a heartbeat, you're hanging in traffic with nothing but air under your grip. That's the TPS cutting out right when the ECU needs it most. A worn sensor creates voltage dropouts mid-sweep, making the ECU think you've shut the throttle when you haven't. The engine pulls back fuel and you lose acceleration. It's a scary feeling, like your bike just ghosted you mid-pass. Try this test. In your bike's diagnostic mode, slowly twist the throttle. Watch the voltage readout. If it jumps, stalls, or skips sections, your sensor is failing. You can clean the connector, but odds are the internal track is worn. Replacements range from $60 to $120 depending on model. Make sure to check for loose throttle body screws and inspect the wiring harness for pinched or cracked sections. Leave it too long and it gets dangerous. That hesitation can hit mid-pass or mid-corner, right when you need full control. The ECU can even cut spark briefly, risking a stall. That's not just inconvenient, it's potentially deadly. When the engine starts cutting power, it's only a matter of time before the throttle starts fighting back. Symptom 5. Jerky throttle control. You're trying to hold a steady speed, but the bike bucks like a horse. Throttle on, throttle off. You're not moving the grip, but it feels like the bike is. The TPS is spitting out random voltage spikes, confusing the ECU into thinking you're rolling on and off the gas. It keeps adjusting fueling and ignition back and forth. That sudden lurching isn't your riding, it's the sensor misfiring commands. While idling, gently wiggle the throttle harness. If RPMs jump, that wire or sensor is your problem. Sometimes it's just a loose ground, but if it happens mid-ride, replace the TPS. Expect about $80 for parts and an hour of labor. Recalibrate it after installation to reset throttle voltage range. Ignore the jerks and your drivetrain pays the price. The chain snaps tight and loose again, eating the sprockets tooth by tooth. That's a $200 hit in wear before you even fix the real issue. It can also throw your suspension timing off mid-corner, especially in sport riding. It's an issue that compounds itself the longer you ride. Once your throttle starts kicking, the ECU joins the chaos. Its warning light is the next big sign. Quick pause. If this is helping you spot issues early, hit subscribe and stay ahead of every failure before it happens. More quick tests, fast diagnostics, and budget-friendly fixes are coming up next. Symptom 4. Check engine light. One morning, the amber light flicks on and stays there. Sometimes solid, sometimes blinking after startup. Your ECU has caught the lie. It's logged a fault, usually a TPS circuit or correlation error. You might see codes like P0120 to P0123. That's the ECU saying, your throttle position data makes no sense. Grab a cheap OBD2 or bike-specific scanner, about $40, and pull the codes. If they point to the TPS, you know your next step. Replacing the sensor clears the light instantly, but always reset or reflash the ECU afterward to make sure it relearns the throttle range. Some mechanics recommend a full throttle adaptation reset after installation. Ignore it, and your bike may drop into limp mode. That means reduced power and capped RPMs, the ECU's way of saving itself. Keep riding like that, and you're not just slow, you're risking your engine's timing logic. That can lead to long-term damage costing $300 to $600 in ECU diagnostics or repairs. When that check light starts glowing, it's not done talking. Soon, your exhaust will join the conversation. Symptom 3. Black smoke or poor fuel economy. You crack the throttle and see black smoke puff from the exhaust. You smell fuel. Your mileage tanks. That's your TPS telling the ECU you're at full throttle when you're barely rolling on. The computer dumps fuel to match a demand that isn't real. The mixture runs rich. You lose power and the bike smells like a gas pump. Your fuel efficiency drops like a stone, turning every fill-up into an expensive reminder. Check your spark plugs. If they're dark and sooty instead of light tan, you're running rich. Replacing a TPS costs $70 to $100, but ignoring it means $400 or more. In fact, fouled plugs, and clogged injectors. And once injectors get carboned up, your spray pattern suffers. Performance tanks even further. Ride long enough with that rich mix and carbon builds in the combustion chamber, changing compression and timing. That's when pops, stalls, and misfires start creeping in. The exhaust note gets deeper, the smell stronger, and your bike starts sounding older than it is. All that unburned fuel has to go somewhere. The next stop, exploding out your tailpipe. Symptom 2, backfiring or stalling at stops. You roll to a stoplight, close the throttle, and bang, a sharp pop from the pipe, or worse, silence. The bike stalls dead. The throttle position sensor should drop voltage smoothly when you close the grip, signaling the ECU to reduce fuel and spark. When it doesn't, the engine either floods or cuts spark early. Both cause backfires or stalls. It's loud, embarrassing, and dangerous in traffic. Hook a multimeter up and watch the voltage drop as you roll the throttle shut. It should fall smoothly to around 0.6 volts. If it sticks or jumps, that's your smoking gun. Replacing the sensor and resetting the ECU usually fixes it. Parts run around $80. While you're there, inspect the throttle body for carbon buildup that could be affecting readings. Keep riding through it, and the explosions inside your exhaust can shred your muffler packing or damage the catalytic converter. That's a $500 mistake you can prevent with a 1-hour repair. Backfires can also spook nearby riders or cause loss of focus in tight traffic. And if you ignore even that, you'll hit the final, catastrophic symptom, the one that ends every ride the same way. Symptom 1, no throttle response, total failure. You twist the grip and nothing happens. The engine stays at idle, no surge, no roar. Total silence from the throttle. The TPS has failed completely. Its signal is dead or stuck at full. The ECU doesn't trust it anymore, so it locks out throttle input to protect the engine. You can't accelerate, can't move, can't ride. It's the ultimate failure, the digital equivalent of a snapped throttle cable. If you have a voltmeter, check the signal wire. No change in voltage when you move the throttle means it's over. Replacement sensors cost between $70 and $120, and you should not ride until it's fixed. Losing throttle at speed isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. It can lead to unpredictable idle surge or even full engine cut mid-corner. Replace it before it reaches this point. A single $100 repair saves your life, your bike, and your wallet. Don't gamble your safety on a dying sensor. If your bike hesitates, diagnose it fast and fix it before it becomes a full failure. Check it, clean it, replace it when it slips, prevent the breakdown before it starts. Still having issues? Your fuel injector might be next. Watch our next video, 9 symptoms of a bad motorcycle fuel injector before it leaves you stranded. Subscribe now and let us know in the comments below what you ride and where you ride. We would love to hear.